Any questions about this? Fact-based, how to practice with facts, how to... Okay, I have to turn this down a little bit. Okay, there we go. So talking about that, how do we practice? How do we make sure that something is actually happening? And we will do that on the court. We will do 3 different exercises that you can bring back home. But again, this is the model. And how do we want to be the best version of yourself? And we talked about it, Espen talked about it, the purpose. And we know people have been to, coaches have been to coach education lately. We brought up this chart where, you see the black line is what normally kids do. They play an awful lot of tennis, and they don't do the fitness, they don't do anything else but tennis, and they become pretty good, quite quick. But then because you don't have the coordination, you don't have all the fitness or the mental skills in place, you tend to stop your improvement and maybe stop earlier than you need to. So we know the red is the way to go, but even if we know that for 30 years, this is Schönborn is a guy that did this back in the 80s. He said this is a smart way to improve tennis players, even doesn't matter how good they will be, but this is a smart way, so you can get all the skills by the time you are 14. But again, I'm repeating myself now, but how do we learn here? And if we want to then explain why, it's also to show what is happening when the ball is hitting the racket. And this is what's going on 3,000ths of a second. And see the racket of Roger afterwards. And this is, of course, the kids and players need to understand also what they should do when they hit forehands and so on, because it's all about ball control. It's controlling the ball. That's all why we do all this. That's why we practice. And you know that how to get on the court and feel that you can control the ball. And that's what we are trying to make them feel on the court. Every day when you do interventions, we want them to do this. So we talk about ball control. To do that, Roger showed us how to do racket control. Then you need body control to move and to be balanced and to be there and to be able to control your body. You need footwork to be able to do that. You need some energy and some attitude to go out there and work. And of course, an intention, what is doing. And one player that was not really good at this, in the beginning, but that's when we looked at him when he was 10, 11, 12, was Casper. He was not a great player. He was not like something, oh, look at that guy, with all the coordination. He was okay, of course. He could hit the ball because he'd been playing for a while with his father, but he was not really, everything was not there. So since then, Christian asked for fitness, he asked for technical skills, he asked those things to add every single day something to improve his game. He's been measuring everything from fitness to on-court statistics, technical things, tactical things. This is what this guy, we have been doing with him for a long time. And the father in the podcast, or if you go to Olympiatoppen's podcast, you will see that he talked about this, what he did to try to make him as good as he can be. And he said that he just did one small thing at a time, and every day Casper felt that he was getting better. You do that the same. You do the same, I know that. So it's nothing new. But to do it over and over again every day, that's what's so hard sometimes, because we have a tendency to feel that we don't have time. We don't, you know what you think right now, say, oh yeah, well, we don't have time. But I think that, it's better to do a little bit of fact-based training where you actually measure instead of just let them play. Because again, the quality is more important than just the number of balls you play. Because if you keep your brain very occupied also with what is going on, if you make the kids observe what's happening. So we will show you what, when the kids are on the court today, we will show you what they do and see what you can, with just in half an hour, what they can improve by understanding a little bit more what's going on. And Casper probably did this with the father more than anyone. So when you do fact, you can do sensors, video, ball control, exercises on the court, and statistics. You can put that all, on there. And of course, technology gave us more or less everything. The problem is that we have to adjust the information to the players and the coaches. So my message to you is one thing, that make it simple. Simplify all the data that is out there. Don't try to overload kids with what you know. If you know 100%, they don't need 100%. They just need a little bit. So there are no players on the tour that read 12 pages out of every match they do. They just get what is necessary for them for the next match. I forgot one thing today, guys. And of course, when Edward is in the room, I have to say one thing, because Edward, I met him when he was my teacher in school, religion, and I got a 6 in religion, of course. But Edward, without you, I will not be here. So because when I played, this guy did what I do. I started very late playing tennis, but he said, one thing at a time. Just add one thing, and I got a little bit better. He never asked me if we were winning or not, because I was not winning. Never won any junior match in my life. But then I started to win because of this guy that made me learn just a little bit every day. So I want you to have big hands to Edward Rosa, done a tremendous job. Not with me, but for so many. There's so many players that have been on the court with Edward, so that's really important. So that was what I was planning to say in the earlier, but then the sound and everything got messed up. But okay. Now we're back again. So try to simplify it. Try to simplify the message. And one way to simplify it's this. Is to say that this is a checklist of technical factors on forehands. So you cannot tell them everything. But point out one thing, point of contact. Then show them a picture. When they do it right. You don't want to show them a picture when they do it wrong. You want to show them this is the way when you do it right. Just do it every time, as many times as you can. The kids don't want to hear what they can't do. They want to see what they can do. And they want to work on that. Get back on the point of contact. Now, the symptoms contra the cause of the problem. If you see someone leaning backwards, it's a symptom. It's a symptom. It's not, everyone can see. You don't need a degree in education. You just see this forehand. Everyone can see that you lean backwards. But you need to know why. You need to tell the kid, what do you do right now to make it better? And that's your job. That's our job. It's as quick as possible to find out what is the cause of the problem. And if you can find one thing to make them feel a little bit better, that will ignite them. That will make them work maybe a little bit more. So again, try to look at the symptom and find out the cause of the problem. We learn from positive reinforcement, and we will see today to see how we talk with the kids on the court when we do sensors, heart sensors, we do some, some hitting and serving, and we do some videos. And positive reinforcement is also very powerful. So remember, practice communication skills. And again, I still believe this. So I will stop right there because, we have so much, we can talk about when you are in the group, half an hour here on the court with Cesar and myself doing the fact-based training where you use technology and some exercises. So that's what we want you to do, and this is actually really important in a country where we don't really have the culture of what is tennis all about. Remember, we don't have to say this, that ball control is important in Spain. That's something they know. They know tennis, what tennis is all about. But we have to talk and tell the audience about what is tennis. Tennis is to keep the ball in play. Number one. But we hit the ball harder in this country than any other country in the world. Because we don't know that. We don't know ball control. So we have to talk about ball control and all the other stuff. That's why it's so important that someone said, I want to hear what we talk about in Norway. So that's why it's so important to teach differently in a country without culture. And parents have to also understand that hitting the ball hard and just get more exercises is not the way. You have to build it step by step. You can't just jump and think that you can just get the fancy forehand, because Nadal did not hit the forehand he's doing now when he was 7. Casper did not hit the forehand the way he is doing now when he was 10. Because we had the videos of him when he was 10. We had the video when he was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Because he was practicing here. So we know everything what he did. So we can say to kids, do the same. Get the balance, hit the ball back, because that's what Christian said to Casper. Do that, because if you make a mistake, you're not going to be a player. And that's why it's so important to do exercises like we do today to make people understand the game. Now, Cesar, it's your turn. Isn't that right? Yep. Okay, guys. Now, Cesar,